Okay, everybody, so we're very excited today to have another new element of Venture Atlanta. So we are inducting our first 3 companies into the Venture Atlanta Hall of Fame. So, we go back to 2008. We have had almost 1,000 companies be part of Venture Atlanta. I mean, we're almost going to hit that 1,000 mark. So the 3 companies that are being inducted today, I am so excited to be with them and see the growth that they've had and the exits and what has happened. So I am thrilled to bring up our sponsor of this event, JP Morgan, and Scott Marshall, who is the Executive Director of Technology and Disruptive Commerce, is going to lead the discussion, and we're going to let them take it away.
Thank you, Allison, and thank you everyone for being here. On behalf of JP Morgan, I have the pleasure of introducing 3 incredible founders to the inaugural Venture Atlanta Alumni Hall of Fame. Our first inductee is a founder turned investor who pitched his startup on the Venture Atlanta stage in 2009 and served as CEO and co-founder of cloud advisory and tech services firm Cloud Sherpas. After Accenture acquired his business in 2015, this founder began giving back to the Atlanta startup ecosystem, and he currently serves as managing partner and co-founder of Overline, an Atlanta-based seed stage VC fund. Please welcome to the stage Michael Cohn.
Thank you all so much. On behalf of my co-founders, Eran Gill, David Hoff, and the CEOs that followed me at Cloud Sherpas, John Hallett and David Northington, this is a really special honor, and I'm really excited about it. Thank you so much to Allison Eman. You all know Allison. Let's give her a round of applause for all the work she does. Thank you to the past chairs who I know had a lot to do with this. And just a quick story and a question for everybody out there. Anybody out here have a CD-ROM drive? On this CD-ROM, there's supposedly, we need some proof, a video of me from April of 2008 on stage at what was then called the Atlanta Venture Forum. And I know that leading into this, I had a tremendous amount of support from people in the community who didn't have a financial interest in my business. It was folks at ATDC, and I know I'm not going to remember all of these names, but I know you must be out here somewhere. John Yates and Neil Miller, Cindy Cheatham, and Lance, and the whole crew who was Ashish, and may rest in peace Greg. All these folks who did not have an interest, who came out to help and helped me do well on this stage, and it was incredibly inspiring to me. And when I came out the other end and have now on this side of the table, that experience really motivated me to do the things we did at Techstars and the things we're doing today at Overline. So thank you all so very much. It's awesome.
Next is a longtime supporter of Venture Atlanta. Having pitched Kabbage, a financial services platform for small businesses in 2010, Kabbage successfully deployed more than $10 billion in capital to small businesses, and it was acquired by American Express in 2020. A serial entrepreneur, this person has spent the majority of her career building fintech and e-commerce startups. She is currently a co-founder at Keep Financial, a fintech pioneering flexible compensation, and we have been recognizing her for her accomplishments and contributions for more than a decade. Please welcome Kathryn Petraila.
Hi, thanks so much for being here. My first time at Venture Atlanta was in 2010, I think. It could be 2009, but we pitched in 2010. And I'm probably not allowed to tell this story, but I'm going to, which is we got our first term sheet because of that event. And we didn't take the money that they offered us because we turned that into another better term sheet, and then we turned that one into another better term sheet, and we wound up getting our Series A done because of Venture Atlanta. We've attended many, many years in a row. This was at the Georgia Aquarium. I think that's how long ago that was. But we really loved building a company here in Atlanta. When we were raising money over the years, which we did a lot, everybody kept saying, why Atlanta? And the obvious answer is obviously because we live here. So we thought that'd be a good place to build a company because you live in the place. And it was such a great place to build a company. And it remains a great place to build a company because I'm doing it again. But it's such an amazing pool of talent, excellent fintech resources, a lot of support, great places to live, amazing diversity and community and restaurants and all the things that you want in a city I find in Atlanta. I've lived here for 31 years and I don't think I'll call another place home for the rest of my life, no matter where I am. So I'm really grateful to be here, and I'm grateful on behalf of not just myself and my co-founders, Rob Forman and Mark Gorlin, who were there at that Venture Atlanta in 2010, that fateful day that we wound up getting our business started. So thank you.
Okay. I don't know if we're supposed to take a picture or...
We get a plaque and stuff. That's cool.
That's right. Congratulations.
Thanks. Oh, I'm gonna shake your hand.
Yeah, you go.
Normally, I'm in the South. We usually hug here.
Oh, sorry. There we go. The last inductee we are honoring tonight is a co-founder who first pitched on stage in 2012. He and his co-founders have been huge supporters of Venture Atlanta community for many years and are proud of the value-based company they built. This startup has received several honors, including Deloitte Technology Fast 500 and placement on countless top workplace lists. Please join me in recognizing the co-founder of Salesloft, an AI-powered sales engagement platform, Rob Forman.
It is good to be here. I love Atlanta so much. Multiple times in the early days of the company, as we raised capital, everyone told us to move to the West Coast. And one of my greatest joys is that we didn't, and that we built something meaningful and special here. And I am honored to receive this. This feels like the culmination of so many things. And I want to honor my co-founder, Kyle Porter, who really brought the heartbeat of sales into Salesloft. When he and I got together, it was right after failure for both of us. And I was a tech guy who couldn't sell my way out of a bag, and he was a sales guy who apparently was having a hard time building things. And so it was great to come together. It was great to have to mentors here in Atlanta, David Cummings and Tom Noonan, from an organizational health and a sales perspective. We were so appreciative of all they gave to us. The many colleagues that I worked with over the years, they really made this happen. The community around us, Atlanta, we felt like we were the people's champ and that people were cheering for us to win, and that was meaningful. Obviously, our friends and family, my wife, Megan, who loved me so unconditionally through all of it, who was patient during the long days, and so it's with a lot of gratitude that I accept this. Thank you.
Congrats. Well, thank you, and congrats to Michael, Kathryn, and Rob, and let's give all the inductees a round of applause. Turn it here a little bit. So my role at JP Morgan, I've had the opportunity to work with founders to help them grow and scale their businesses, whether that's taking out a loan to expand the business, whether that's helping with payroll, or whether it's helping them raise capital. It's always exciting to hear and speak to the companies about getting the sale or closing a sale for their next $1 million in revenue, or whether that's finding a new hire to take them to the next level, or whether that's signing a new term sheet to take with a new investor to take them to the next level as well. And to think so many of them started right here on this stage. So I'd like to ask our Hall of Fame inductees to reflect on the journeys that led them to this moment. And this is for all of you. What does this honor mean to you? Anybody can take it.
Go for it, Michael. This is really awesome. I mean, the fact that we have a Hall of Fame means that we're not a nascent ecosystem anymore, right, folks? That means that this is that we've been around for a number of years. It's less about, I think,
So
us
you're
as
saying we're old?
inductees. I'm not saying we're old, no.
That's what I heard.
No, not at all. But I am saying that as a community, let's stop saying Atlanta is a nascent community and a new community. We have a number of Hall of Fames around town, and now we have one here for our venture community too. So I'm really excited by that.
Yeah, I think it's encouraging. To your point of what a community needs is wins, and so what I most love about it is the people who have gone on from Salesloft and the diaspora that they're in the community and doing big things. A number of companies who pitched here, a lot of Saleslofters are working at those companies, and so it's fun to follow along. And so to have the recognition stamped on their early career, I hope continues to propel them forward as they create great companies and pay it all forward.
I asked the question earlier how long Venture Atlanta had been around, because we were there in one of the, I think you were ahead of us, right? Was it 2000?
It was 08.
08. Well, and then I think we started coming in 2010. And the fact that this event remains, that people from all over the world come to talk to startups in Atlanta is pretty exciting. And I love that, you know, we've established something that I think is going to be around for a really long time and supports the fact that this is a great place to start and run and grow a company.
So again, for all you, was there a pivotal moment, you know, for the startup that we're talking about here, that you realized you had something special?
You know, I'm going to reverse it. People ask me that question all the time. They're always like, "Oh, when did you know that it was going to?" I never even made a plan. I wasn't thinking to myself, "Oh, I'm going to know that it's amazing when this thing happens, when we have our 4th customer, our 400th customer, or we hire our 72nd employee." It wasn't like that for me. I think it became something. We had an employee who got a Kabbage tattoo. I think that's when I knew.
That wasn't you, was it?
Can we see it?
I don't have any tattoos, and I'm a little embarrassed about that. If somebody has a good idea for a tattoo I should get that's not a Kabbage tattoo, let me know.
Salesloft logo.
It
It's
should
a great
be your
logo.
old Twitter
Where's your
handle.
tattoo?
It's you can't see
You
it
keep
right
looking down.
I think, I guess a moment that stands out with me, we started saying this sometime in the company, first couple of years. We started saying, these are the good old days. And I didn't realize how right that was. And 2 moments stand out. One was we started doing this thing called Coffee with a Lofty. It was an automated system you would log into, some developer put together, and it would automatically pair up 2 people every week for lunch. And so I was out at lunch with another colleague, and I asked what surprised this person about being at Salesloft, and they said, because we were super centric on our values and we're a bit fanatical, and he said, I'm surprised, I get how it works in our professional environment, I'm surprised how much it's spilling over to benefit my personal life. And I think that's when there was a moment of this is working from an organizational health. For a customer, from what we were doing in the industry, we wanted to improve the lives of salespeople, point blank. That's what we wanted to create software that made them, you know, better and more effective. And we got an email where someone said, I got a promotion and here's a picture of the dog I bought. And I was like, okay, we are on the right track.
Yeah, I'll answer that as well. For ours at Cloud Sherpas, just maybe taking the question maybe a little differently. Many of you created markets. You created a market. You certainly introduced a whole new category. We didn't do that at Cloud Sherpas. We more rode a wave, and the market was inevitable. It was going to happen whether we were there or not. And for us, it was a matter of timing. And I think it was probably about 2 years into it when Google, our partner, and that was the original focus of our business, recognized us as a partner of the year. Candidly, it was another recognition, and it was very meaningful, and it was the first of 6 consecutive recognitions that we got from them, and it was really the beginning of our ascent.
So this one's for you, Rob. What was the most challenging aspect of building your business?
2 things come to mind. One is on the personal side. I have a son who was struggling with mental health through the entire journey, had to be hospitalized many times. He's doing much better now. But it was very, very difficult, and I share that only because it really taught me a lot about actually realizing that other people are going through really hard things too, and a lot of times we don't know about it. And so just having, it doesn't mean we don't strive for results and hold each other accountable and all that. I'm a big fan of that, but realizing that there are just hard things in life. At the company, venture-backed hyperscale, one of the most important things that we focused on was the cohesion of our leadership team. And it was a very real challenge that when you are growing that fast, we had to basically rehire that leadership team multiple times. And so getting the best people, getting them bought in, rebuilding that cohesive team, it took a lot more time and energy than I expected, and was very difficult. We reaped a lot of benefits from it, but I underestimated it.
Touching. Michael, what was the most impactful thing about Venture Atlanta for you?
Coming back to the comments I made earlier, getting ready to be on a stage like this with lights and an audience was nothing I'd ever done before. And there was just the very beginnings of our ecosystem at ATDC that were coming together to support me. I remember Paul being in that class. I remember just a whole bunch of Atlanta entrepreneurs in that very first Cap Venture program. And again, folks that just didn't have a financial interest in the business that were giving their time every week for, I think, 10 weeks. And it really stayed with me. And for those of you out there who know me, after Cloud Sherpas, I had the honor of leading Techstars in partnership with Cox Enterprises. And a big part of Techstars is building that mentor community. Thanks to you both for being mentors as well. You know, and it was the lessons, I think, that I picked up here, seeing how people gave of their time to help others, to help our entrepreneurial ecosystem. That it really stayed with me. And some of those experiences certainly had a lot to do with how we ran Techstars in those first 3 years, and how we built that mentor community and how we supported our founders.
Kathryn, so you founded several businesses both before and after Kabbage. How do you build upon each startup experience to make the next one more successful?
So our current company, Keep, it is in the payroll and compensation space. Is my 8th startup. I did have a stint working for a normal-ish company for 6 or 7 years when my 23-year-old was born, because that seemed prudent. But I think there's a couple things I think that came from it. One of them is like, just try it. Just try something new. If you think it's a good idea, every single thing I did before 2000 was too soon. I could tell you a company that did the thing I was doing later better in every single case. But I think that's okay. I also didn't know that there was a thing called venture capital, because I was 26 years old, you know, when I started my first company, and that was a bummer because I camped my way from Seattle to San Francisco. I literally traveled to business meetings with a tent and a sleeping bag in my car, because it was, you know, I didn't know you could go get money from people, which is pretty cool. And now in Atlanta, there's all these great places to get money. I'm gonna say something that is gonna embarrass you maybe. Michael is such an amazing investor and board member. I'm lucky enough to be on a board with him in a company that I met through Techstars. And he does so much work to support his portfolio companies. I mean, incredible things, investing separately, you know, to support the business and learning how it works. And it's really remarkable. And I think it's only in a place like Atlanta that can happen. And another lesson that I learned is you don't have to move to San Francisco to start a company and to raise money. You can do it right here. And I've done it every single time right here. And I just think what I've learned is this is a lovely community and a great place to build a business. And there are wonderful, supportive people that are here when you need them.
Thank you, Kathryn.
We're gonna hug later.
So, I mean, I know you guys touched on the mentorship and kind of the community, the ecosystem and everything. So, you know, the startup environment today is a good bit different than when each of you started your companies and when you pitched at Venture Atlanta. What would you say from a general advice to founders nowadays differently than your experience?
Actually, at least for me, I don't think it's that much different. We started our company in 2008, right after Bear Stearns collapsed. You all remember what happened then. It was the beginning of the global financial crisis. I mean, we are in an uncertain time right now as well. It's not too dissimilar. You know, to the point you just made, the difference oftentimes between making it and not making it is just doing it. It's just getting out there and doing it. And so, you know, to all the founders out there that are uncertain about where the funding's going to come from or where the next round's going to come from, so often the difference between, you know, winning and not winning is that perseverance. And so I would just encourage founders to stick with it. At the same time, you know, you got to have some great advisors around you, I think, to help you hold a mirror up at times when maybe you shouldn't. But let's not talk about the negative. I think that just oftentimes the difference is just going. You just have to go. So, yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. I thought back, I was like, maybe the advice is the same. You mentioned camping. What I was going to say, we bootstrapped for the first 2.5 years. We then later went on to raise over $250 million, but before that, we were super scrappy. And so the combination of just doing it, staying scrappy, I think with the scrappy mindset, maybe in this climate, especially if you're going through that transition, you know, being a little bit more fiscally minded, and I think it's not just growth, it's, you know, are you watching the burn multiple, and I mean, how are you thinking about investments into the business? And so being a little bit more critical about that, but I mean, that's just business. So I think, and then the last thing is what I would tell every entrepreneur is that, especially as, you know, it gets going, is the organizational health is the single greatest advantage completely within our control. And so, you know, never lose sight of that.
I think, and I'm thinking more about people just starting out, is ask for help. You have a huge network of people to support you because we all need help, personally and professionally. Like my husband has been the at-home parent for 23 years. We have 2 kids, 23 and 6. And I could never have had this amazing family experience if it wasn't for my husband who was there supporting me. But you have to ask for help. If you don't have a spouse, if you don't have kids, you still have family, you have friends, you have neighbors, you have colleagues, people that can support you. And I think we tend to not want to ask for help. And related to that, I would say, listen, some people do amazing things all by themselves, and that's fantastic. I think it's great to have a co-founder. I think it's great to have somebody, you know, off of whom you can bounce your ideas and who can be a sanity check and who can be there when you need to not be there, because it's really hard to be there all the time. And it gets back into the whole, like, ask for support, you need a network, you know, rely on other people. You can't do it all yourselves.
When the co-founder, that's a great point. The co-founder, I think, helps with some of the loneliness, and you can actually just, you don't have to be polished to your board or brave for your employees. You can just be you. And yeah, that's a great point.
There's a lot of resources out there now. Find and use the resources that are available. Well, thank you all again, and congratulations, and thank you everyone for being here.
Thank you.